Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Podium or Wall, Season 5, all shake, no break. We're coming to you live from Round 3 in Germany, the Nurburgring GP circuit in the touring cars, round number 3 of Podium or Wall, Season 5. We're watching the final laps of practice here. Looks like they're getting a rack-em-up situation going. Few notes for tonight's race. All the races are in attendance, minus the mole diver. I'm sure everyone would be pleased on course about that. And then we've got a name change. The driver formerly known as Radim Vagine, now known as Pavant. Anything more on that?
Yeah, you know, I heard rumor Radim Vagine had to, what have you, the Mafia might have been looking for him for some money, so he had to disappear. Wow. But his cousin's here. We've got Pavant, and they're off.
So they will keep the same points total. They're driving the same car.
You know, it's the same race team. It's
Whoa! Hopefully that's not a sign of what's to come. A little sloppy there from the fellas.
Look at this, 3 wide into turn 2, and they're just beating on each other. Well, it looks like Mr. Schwung's out to a lead, but that was a bit of a wide turn he took. Let's see what this does for the rest of
there's only one paint scheme change in effect for the race. That's Gold Striker there in the classic Akatsuki paint scheme. He loves doing it. He loves watching that. He loves those. He loves those. Anyways, it looks like they're coming to the end of the rack-em-up situation. Of course, for the touring cars, we will be doing a standing start. So, it's whoever can get the best jump off the line. Now, Gold Striker finds himself in the top spot. He's never been there before. He's in front. This is a guy who's won the championship before. He's not used to being out in front to start the race, you know, due to the reverse grid system. We'll see how he handles it.
You know, he had a rough week last week. Couple incidents cost him a lot, but yeah, starting up front, and I hear he picked this course. He should be looking forward to a nice runaway here on the Nurburgring.
That's right. There were concerns he was potentially gaming the system with 2 intentional crashes last week. The investigation is still out. He did suffer bodily harm, so it's unlikely. You never know. You know, the rules in the league they're novel, they're new, they're untested, but all drivers have agreed to them, so it is what it is. I think we're about to have our grid here as we get underway.
And as we were saying, Gold Striker is going to start in front with this reverse grid, followed by Jeff Plata, and the pace car and Mr. Schwung right behind them. Pavant should be coming in any moment. He'll be in 5th. Rock Lee, followed by Captain Crash and the Cuban Missile. Now, the Cuban Missile, he ran off with double victories last weekend. And starting the backfield, we're going to see what he can do. But he's been very hot. We're going to have to keep an eye on him.
Yep, starting in last place, but finding himself comfortably in first place in the championship standings. Captain Crash, also with a bit of a cushion there in second place in the championship standings. The rest of them, tooth and nail, as the lights are about to go red. Let's see what we got here.
And again, with the standing start, you know, getting a good start means a lot. You know, these front-wheel drive cars are a little tricky. They tend to spin out.
Oh, it looks like Jeff Plata's got a bit of a better start than Gold Striker, and he's got the inside of the turn. He's immediately up into P1. Gold Striker a little sluggish off the line. Radim Vagine out the outside. Pace car up the inside of him. Gold Striker gets a nose chopped off a little there by Jeff Plata. He's holding on to second. Radim Vagine up to third. Sorry, that's Pavant. That's going to take a while for me. I just love that name. Radim Vagine was so great. But Pavant in third now. Oh, look at that. They're lining up here, ass to ankles. Jeff Plata holding off Gold Striker. Gold Striker wants to get back into first place as soon as he can. That was not according to plan. I can tell you that. So we're on board with him here. Heavy braking into turn 5 and 6. Turn 6, pretty important to get a good exit here. You've got a long run following it, and it's easy to miss the braking point there as we see Captain Crash in the classic silver Audi with the red rings. Gold Striker looking up the inside of Plata. Coming around the turn here. Oh, a little spin from Plata, and Gold Striker goes right into the back of him, and he's off the course. Ooh, that looks to be heavy damage for Plata and Gold Striker. Let's see if Gold Striker can get it going there. His car looks mighty bent. Ooh, that's P1 and P2 down. I don't know if they're going to be able to recover from that. They might have meatball flags. That puts Cuban Missile up into first, and he's out of last place into first place on the first lap. How has he done it? Our championship leader. Oh, and Redeem Virginia goes around. Rock Lee T-bones him. That's 2 more competitors down on lap 1. They're both losing car parts. Rock Lee loses his bumper. Captain Crash around the outside of Mr. Schwung. Wow. What an eventful first lap this has been. Cuban Missile already 3 seconds ahead of second place. Oh my goodness, it seems like we're going to have deja vu here. Cuban Missile coming out to a large lead. Rock Lee fighting with Captain Crash.
No, I think that's Captain Crash, Mr. Schwung.
Oh, there's Rock Lee. He's missing his bumper. Mr. Schwung and the pace car catching up to the back of them. Wow. So 4 competitors suffering damage there, at least in the opening lap as we begin lap 2.
So it looks like Gold Striker's in the back of the field, followed by Jeff Plata. Those 2 had that incident coming around that one bend. And again, Cuban Missile just off to a nice start.
So we see him coming down the hard braking zone into turn 1. Really crazy turn there. You've got to really slam on the brakes and trust. Well, there's a lot of room there to dive up the inside, so if you leave that door open, somebody might dive in there, and they might get shut just as soon as it was open. We come across turns 3 and 4 here. Really important to get a good exit off of here.
Oh man, pace car looked like he took it just a bit too wide. He's going to fall out of this pack, but Captain Crash followed by Mr. Schwung just chasing Rock Lee around the bends. They want to see second and third place. These guys are hungry. Every point matters. This is only event number 3.
Captain Crash poking up the inside of Rock Lee there. Rock Lee notably holding into second place without a front bumper. Pretty impressive stuff there. This course, a lot of straights. Maybe it's improved his aerodynamic somehow. You can't expect him to hold on to that place for long, though, with the body damage he has. That would be quite the performance. We'd love to see it out of him. Can he do it? He's holding off Captain Crash for the time being. And I'll just be honest about it. I don't think we're going to have a battle for first place here today. I think the Cuban Missile's gone away with it. He's going to run away with it. Rock Lee and Captain Crash here, there's no way they work together. They're going to fight for P2. As long as Cuban Missile doesn't mess up, he'll probably take home a 3rd consecutive win.
You know, there was talk of the Audis colluding, but I haven't seen any teamwork between the gang. It seems like everyone's out.
That's for sure. If there were any thoughts about inter-make relationships, it's gone out the window.
There's no teammates on this field. Let's see what we have here. Captain Crash chasing Rock Lee into this final chicane.
Mr. Schwung up in 4th. He's still a factor in this.
Oh, that's a wide
Captain Crash goes wide. Cutting some grass.
As is tradition, you know, he does not like tall grass. We'll see if he does it again.
Something about this course is you'll notice after just about every turn is a pretty significant straight, meaning you've really got to be focused. Focus on corner exit is very important here. You want to get as much speed going down the straight as possible. It really makes a difference.
Here we go. We got Pavant Guard and Pace Car racing each other.
Oh my goodness! Pace car got a little squirrely. Might have missed the braking zone into turn 1 there. Oh, and he's off. He took Pavant Guard with him. That's 2 more competitors down. We've seen a lot of incidents here so far. Oh, he can't get it started. He's stuck in the wall. Oh my goodness, he'll have to pit there.
They're going to have to send the tow car for that one, I'll tell you what. Gold Striker still following up the backfield. We'll see if we can get a shot of him.
Oh my goodness, Captain Crash going a little crazy, taking B2. He gets a little squirrely there, but he manages to hold on to it. Wow, thank goodness we got the camera angle back in time for that.
Just in time. You know, he cut a little grass, but he wrangled it in before there was too much trouble. He's in front of Rock Lee now, followed by Mr. Schwung. These 3 have been fighting for the last couple laps. We'll see if anyone can break out.
Rock Lee falling back 1 position. Still missing that front bumper. It's not reappeared yet, nor will it. But it doesn't seem to be hurting his time all that much. It seemed like it was just a mistake he made there that allowed Captain Crash, who nearly made a similar mistake on the same turn, but he manages to hold on with a quite impressive slide around. As he finds himself in second place here, Cuban Missile increases his lead up to 6.6 seconds. Yeah, like I said, I don't think we're going to be hearing from him for the rest of the race. In fact, I think the next time we see that car will be it taking the checkered flag. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, no one else is going to challenge him.
Great view here of the buildings and the facilities. You know, gotta love it. There we go. All right, Mr. Schwung chasing Rock Lee through the final corners.
The Nurburgring, obviously one of the most iconic tracks in motorsport. Fun fact, in the off-season, the Podium or Wall team actually does team up and form an endurance team, their most popular event being this NEC, the 4-hour challenge, at this very course, but also including the forest section, the much longer Nordschleife. What a flowy track that is, I tell you what. Although, I don't think for race night it'd be that good for this league. There's quite a bit of pace difference. However, maybe that's par for the course.
Well, you can see here in this helicopter view, Cuban Missile's got a huge lead. Captain Crash, Rock Lee, Mr. Schwung, got to be just moments behind, 6 seconds behind. There's really no challenge for first place in this race, but they're fighting like hell for second and third, I'll tell you what.
It looks like we've got 2 cars in the pit, Pavant Guard and Pace Car, after that epic collision they had just after turn 1, which is probably the worst place to have a crash, especially if you can't continue. That tow probably taking 5 or so minutes. Very unfortunate. Even with the faster pair, there's no way they'll be able to make up that time.
Oh, here we go. Rock Lee's challenging Captain Crash. He had a real good entrance into that one, but we'll see what he can do here. He's in the tow. He's going to chase him through these next couple corners.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to keep it here with these 3. Everyone else is pretty far apart, but Captain Crash, Rock Lee, Mr. Schwung, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. They're going to be battling and battling. Captain Crash holding on to it for now. See if anybody can close this gap down a bit.
Looks like Mr. Schwung is falling behind, but Rock Lee and Captain Crash still duking it out. There was that questionable pass. Again, we have no stewards during the race, so
That's
Captain
right.
Crash is taking 2nd place, and some people might question his ethics. But here we are. They're chasing each other out of the final corner, and Mr. Schwung appears to be about a second behind, maybe a second and a half.
Looks like he's not going to be able to get that draft, but Rock Lee should be able to get a sniff of that draft. Not as much as he wants, but, you know, you have to wonder if he's this good without his front bumper. You know, if he had it on still, he might be running away with this thing in second as he takes it really wide on turn 1. He's in the grocks.
Just too deep.
Way too deep into that one. Probably missed the braking point and has to slam on them at that point. You're just hoping and praying to God that you're going to make the turn.
You know, I think he got greedy. Thought he was going to be able to take a late break on the turn 1 and take Captain Crash from the outside, but just overshot his mark. And now him and Mr. Schwung are going to be battling for 3rd.
Mr. Schwung can gain some time here. It looks like we'll be having a battle for 3rd. Look at that epic. You know, they just love flying away to the helicopter shots here. We're going in the blimp. Crazy stuff.
Here we are watching Mr. Schwung again. He is still behind Rock Lee. Maybe a second between the 2 cars, but
Yep.
you never know. One mistake can mean life or death.
And you know, Rock Lee, I believe he's found himself, is he in P4 now in the championship standings or P3? I believe it's between him and Pavant Guard for those positions, but I know that right behind Rock Lee is Mr. Schwung, just like we have in the race here. So those 2 gonna be duking it out. We see them come around from a far out view. Can barely tell who is who from this angle.
You know, it looks like Captain Crash right there just made it through the corner, followed by Rock Lee and Mr. Schwung. And you can see the gap there. Captain Crash has got a solid distance between him and Rock Lee as Mr. Schwung hunts down 3rd place. He's hungry. He wants more. He needs these points. He's just been pressing for that time. We'll see if he can put a challenge on Rock Lee this next lap.
Touring cars here, front wheel drive. That's how you saw Captain Crash able to make that. Almost looks like he's drifting around the corner. While it looks cool, it's not exactly the fastest way around the course. We haven't seen much of it today besides that one instance, but perhaps in the future races, something to look out for. So we're back on board with the helicopter.
You know, speaking of the, what have you, the drifting and the different antics, we have seen, I think it was last week, Pavant Guard had a Bit of a loss of control on one of his exits where the rear end just totally got away from him. These TCRs, they're fun front-wheel drive cars, but if you bring too much energy into a corner and you got cold tires, she'll get away from you real quick, I'll tell you what.
And it looks like Captain Crash coming across, we've got about 2 minutes here left in the race, 1 or 2, maybe 3 laps at the most. And he's got about 2.5 seconds. He's sitting pretty up in P2.
Just as you predicted, haven't seen the Cuban Missile for a while. He's got a large 5.5 second lead. I think he's going to run away with his third first place finish in this event, and he's got to be very pleased with that result.
Mr. Schwung really hoping to get everything out of the car that he can. He's so close. Wants that podium. Go on board here. Gold Striker putting down the fastest lap from the back of the pack. He's up into P6. Plata, after that lap 1 incident, he finds himself up into P5. Chaotic race early on. Been a bit of a dole since.
We haven't really seen a lot of passes. It's mostly been car accidents and incidents that's caused lead changes. But fingers crossed we see something from Mr. Schwung. That being said, Rock Lee, without a front bumper, is putting on a heroic effort. He is not going quietly into the night. He has been running hard and fast.
He's not making it easy.
There's a bit of a distance between them and Captain Crash, but Rock Lee is giving no inches back to Mr. Schwung. He says, I'm in third, and you can take it from me over my cold, dead fingers.
Gosh, it's a tough position to be in here for Mr. Schwung, especially in these cars. You saw there, he comes around that turn, and he sees the car get bigger. He's getting closer, and he wants to accelerate early out of that turn. Unfortunately, it's hard to get the grip once you nail the pedal to the floor. You really want to smooth it out. And, it's just so disheartening when you see he gets close in the turn, and then you'll just watch on the straights, the car kind of gets out farther into the distance. You see there, it's hard to hold off onto the gas until the timing's right. The front-wheel drive cars, you really want to make sure the car is pointed in the right direction when you really hammer it down.
And walking through the paddock the other day, I heard the guys driving the Audis. The Audis seem to have a bit more exit speed on all these corners. I don't know if it's something in the suspension or the tuning, but they're consistently bringing more energy out of the corner and just running away from the Hondas and the Hyundai Elantra.
On the board with the Cuban Missile here, passing the lapped car and the pace car in P8. Whoa, look at that. A little bit of a slide from them there. They're having fun. Cuban Missile making the turn, psyching out the pace car. Looked like he was following the same line, but just couldn't hold on. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, you can see Captain Crash chasing the pace car. He's probably got a second behind him, and then Rock Lee and Mr. Schwung another second or two behind that. Let's see what they do through this fast chicane. If you take the right line, you can go flat out, but I'll be honest, you got to take the right line. Otherwise, it's death. Death and dismemberment.
Death and dismemberment. Mr. Schwung here. Captain Crash. Mr. Schwung. We're on with Captain Crash. He's looking into the back of the pace car. Will the pace car be the difference that we need? Mr. Schwung. Oh my goodness, he's onto the back of the Rock Lee. He's making a move. This is exciting. Took it till the end of the race, but we've got action.
Here we go. Is he going for the inside? He is. Is he going to put
put
the move on?
He makes a run up the inside. Can he hold the brakes in time? He goes a little off to the left. Oh, what a move!
Just like that, Mr. Schwung's been pushing and pushing. Oh my God!
Looks like he may have thought he was in the wrong there. I think he gave him that position back.
Pretty sure
Looks to me like he
lifted.
gave him that position back. As we keep driving here.
Mr. Schwung wants it clean. They're coming into turn one. Let's see. Nope, we're going to follow the Cuban Missile, who's run off with it. There's no challenge to him, as he's in first place by over 4 seconds. And there we are, Jeff Plata.
Yeah, Jeff Plata crossing the finish line here. The race is actually over. Cuban Missile coming in first. Captain Crash, beautiful finish for him. He's in P2. Rock Lee holding off in P3. Of course, we had that epic last turn battle there with him and Mr. Schwung. Mr. Schwung, feeling he may have wronged him, gave the position back. That's as honorable a thing we've seen in this league. I tell you what, I couldn't name a single instance where I've seen sportsmanship like that. Normally, these guys just elbows out and they don't care. They'll kick on you while you're down.
Yeah. You know, with no stewards, people take liberty.
Gold Striker there, holding on to the fastest lap. You know, he finds himself in these positions where the race is pretty much over. All he has to do is take points away. That singular point for fastest lap. That's all you can do when you're back there. That's all you hope for. So when it comes down to it, in the championship standings, those every single point matters.
And here we are, still chasing Captain Crash through the outlap, and it looks like Gold Striker was followed by Pavant Guard and the pace car. So we will see what they can do next time in the GT3s, but something tells me Pavant Guard wants more. He's a great racer. You never know what you're going to get from him, but there was an incident or two that, how do you say, Gold Striker and the Pavant Guard.
Cuban Missile with the hat trick, 3 wins in a row, none of them particularly close. That one probably the closest of them all. I think he had about a 6-second lead or so. And oh my goodness, it looks like it's his season to lose. Gold Striker, his woes continue. Finds himself down towards the bottom of the pack. He still starts next race from P1, so we'll see if he can make anything else happen. He's desperate for a win. Well, tell you what, folks. That was a wonderful race. Thank you all for watching. That was round 3 of Season 5 in the touring cars. As we see Jeff Plata going for a ride there. Epic stuff. Oh, we got to cut it before we watch that one. He was about to die, folks. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back shortly for round 4 into the GT3s.